Hello, and welcome to the Hampton City Schools video demonstration of the Virginia SOL online test. In this video, we will be covering some of the Algebra 2 practice items for the SOL test. There are 18 questions that will show some of the types of test items that will be administered as part of the new end-of-course Algebra 2 assessment. Some questions are multiple choice and others are technology-enhanced items. Technology-enhanced items require you to show your answer in another way, such as typing the answer in a box, completing a graph, or clicking and dragging the answer to a specific location. The Next and Previous buttons appear in the bottom of the screen for each question. Clicking Next takes you to the next question. Clicking Previous takes you back to the previous question. Notice that the question numbers are also located in the bottom of the screen. For example, the screen with sample A reads Sample. At any time, you may click the Flag for Review button located at the bottom left of the screen. This should be used for any question that you want to review at a later time. We will practice using this button when we're working in these practice items. Now let's look at the top of the screen. The tools you may use in the toolbar are at the top of the screen. You will practice with some of these tools as we work through the practice questions. If you forget what a tool does, you may click on the Help symbol to read about that tool. Remember that the tools at the top of the screen are there to help you solve a problem, but only the pointer tool can be used to mark an answer to a question. Use the Next button to proceed to Sample B. Sample B has a gray directions banner under the toolbar that tells you how to answer the question. When the question has a directions banner, you should always read it before solving the problem. The direction banner says, type the answer in the box. This sample question is an example of a fill-in-the-blank technology-enhanced item. You may use scratch paper and your calculator to solve for the answer, then type your answer in the box on the screen using the keyboard. Notice the correct score does not need to be the length of the box. Try entering other characters into the box, such as letters, spaces, or other symbols. This box will only accept numbers. If a letter, number, or symbol does not appear in the answer box after you've tried it, then you cannot use that character in your answer. You can use the backspace key on your keyboard to clear the answer. Click the Next button at the bottom of the screen to go to the first practice item. Notice the bottom of your screen now says question 1 of 18. Before you read the question, let's practice using the Eliminator tool. On a multiple choice question, the Eliminator tool will help you mark choices that you do not wish to consider. At the top of the toolbar, click on the button with the red X. Selecting this tool will change your pointer to an arrow with a red X next to it. You can use this tool to eliminate as many choices as you want. To eliminate an answer, you would click the choices you believe are not correct. Practice putting a red X over choices A and B. Then click on the Eliminator tool again to put the tool away. If you eliminate a choice and then change your mind, use the Eraser tool on the toolbar to erase an X. Click on the Eraser tool and practice using it to remove an X on answer A and B. Click on the Eraser tool icon again to put it away. Now read the first question, use the Eliminator tool to narrow down your choices, and use the pointer tool to select your answer. Use the Next button to proceed to question 2. Let's take a moment to practice using the highlighter tool. You can use the highlighter tool on the toolbar to highlight words. To use this tool, click on the icon that looks like a picture of a yellow highlighter. Clicking on the highlighter tool will change your pointer to a tool with an arrow and a highlighter next to it. Practice using the highlighter by highlighting the question. Then click again on the highlighter tool in the toolbar to put the tool away. Use the Section Review button to proceed to question 5. Let's practice using the Straight Edge tool. You can use the Straight Edge tool on the toolbar to make a straight line or to underline text. Look for the Straight Edge tool icon at the top of the screen. The icon is a line with points on either end. When you click on the Straight Edge tool, you will see a drop-down box. Select Tool 2. Your pointer will now have an arrow with a slanted line next to it. Practice using the straight edge by underlining the key phrases end behavior and negative infinity in the question. Then click again on the Straight Edge tool in the toolbar to put the tool away. Use the Section Review button to proceed to question 7. For items where you may need a formula to solve the problem, or a z-table, you should refer to the Exhibit tool located in the toolbar to find the formula sheet or z-table. Let's take a moment to locate the formula sheet. Click on the Exhibit tool, the icon that looks like 2 pieces of paper. You will see the tabs inside the Exhibit window for the formula sheet and for the z-table. Click on the tab for the formula sheet and it will appear inside the window. You can resize the window by dragging the right corner of the window. You can use the scroll bar on the right side of the formula sheet to view all of the formulas. After you write down the formula you need on your scratch paper, click on the Exhibit tool to put the formula sheet away. Click the Next button to proceed to question 8. Question 8 is an example of a drag and drop technology enhanced item. The direction banner says, click and drag each selected property to the correct box. You will click and drag the properties from the dark gray box to the correct location in the justification column. To completely answer the question, you must place a property into each box. You may answer the question now. If you change your mind after clicking and dragging a property to a box, you can drag the property back to the dark gray box and select another property to drag into the empty box. It's important to note that in order for this item to be completely answered, each justification box must contain a property. However, if you only placed 1 or 2 properties inside the boxes, this item will show as answered in the Section Review screen, even if you did not completely answer the question. An item with any answer, even an incomplete one, will appear as answered on the Section Review screen within TestNav. Before we go to the next question, click on the Flag for Review button in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. If this were an actual SOL test, you would click this button if you wanted to come back to review the question again. When we reach the end of the practice questions, I will show you how the questions you flag for review will look on the Section Review screen. The Section Review screen shows which questions you have answered and which questions you have not answered. The questions you flag for review will have a picture of a flag next to them. Click on the Next button on the screen to go to question 9. Question 9 is a fill-in-the-blank technology-enhanced item. The gray directions banner at the top of the screen says, "Type your answer in the box. Your answer must be in the form of an integer." In order to be scored correctly, it is very important to answer the question exactly as the directions are written. In this item, you must enter an integer as your answer. Use the Section Review button to proceed to question 10. Question 10 is an example of a technology-enhanced item for which there will be more than one correct response. The directions say, click on a box to choose each function you want to select. You must select all correct functions. To answer the item correctly, you need to select all the correct answers by clicking on them. If you change your mind about an answer, you can click the answer choice and it will remove the selection you chose. Or you can use the eraser tool at the top of the screen to remove your selection. Before we answer this question, let's practice using the pencil tool to eliminate the answer choices we do not wish to consider. Click the icon in the toolbar that looks like a green pencil. Draw an X over the last answer choice in the list. Since this is a technology-enhanced item, you cannot use the Eliminator tool to eliminate your answer choices. If you change your mind after eliminating an answer with the pencil tool, you can use the eraser tool to remove the X. Practice removing the X you've drawn. Now read the question and determine the correct answer or answers. You may use the pencil tool to eliminate answer choices if you need help answering the question. On the actual SOL test, you may see questions that require you to pick one or more answers. Some questions will tell you the number of correct answers to select. Other questions, like this one, will not give you the number of answers to select. You will have to decide how many correct answers there are. Use the Section Review icon to proceed to question 12. Question 12 is an example of drag and drop technology enhanced item. The directions banner says, click and drag each selected equation to the correct box. To answer the question, you will click on an equation in the dark gray box and drag it to the empty boxes labeled horizontal asymptote or vertical asymptote. Now read the question and select the asymptotes. Use the Section Review icon to proceed to question 16. Question 16 is a fill-in-the-blank technology-enhanced item. The directions say, type your answer in the box. Use / for the fraction bar or period for the decimal point. Take a moment to note the location of these keys on the keyboard. Use the Next button to proceed to question 17. Before we go to the last question, let's discuss the dot tool. Look at the toolbar at the top of the screen. Locate the dot tool that is directly to the left of the exhibit window. You can use this tool to place dots on the screen if using this tool would help you work through the problem. However, it's very important to note that you cannot use this dot tool to indicate an answer at any time. If an item requires that a point or points be plotted on a number line or coordinate plane to answer a question, only the pointer tool can be used to plot the points. On the SOL test, points plotted with the dot tool will not be scored. Take a moment to practice using this tool. Click on the dot tool in the toolbar. Now use the dot tool to place several dots on the grid. Notice that these dots are large and blue. These large blue dots should never be used to indicate an answer. Now click on the dot tool again to put the tool away. You must be very careful on an SOL test not to use the dot tool to answer a question. You must only use the pointer tool to answer the item. Click on the Next button to proceed to the last question. Read the directions and the question and answer. Click the Next button at the bottom of the screen to go to the Section Review screen. The Section Review screen shows which questions have been answered, which questions have not been answered, and which questions you have flagged for review. To review a question, click on the question number. Now, let's return to question 13. This item was fill in the blank. Enter an answer, and then delete your answer. Now click on the Section Review button to go back to the Section Review screen. Notice that the item still shows as answered. Once you enter an answer for fill in the blank item, it will show as answered on the Section Review screen, even if you delete your answer. You can also use the Section Review screen to sort the questions. The top row of the Section Review screen tells you how many questions you have flagged for review, answered, or left unanswered. If you want to view only the questions you flagged for review, simply click on the column header that says Flagged for Review. If you want to view only questions you have answered, click on the Answer header. If you want to view only questions you left unanswered, click on the light blue box header that says Unanswered. To get back to the Section Review screen that lists all the questions, click on the top left header column. We're now going to review one more set of screens. Click on the Continue to Test Overview button in the lower left-hand corner of the screen. Now click on the Submit and Exit Test button. You will see a stop sign with 3 choices. It's very important to review these 3 choices. The first choice, I want to return to the test, allows you to go back to the practice questions. You must click this option if you want to return to any of the questions. The second choice states, I want to exit this test and finish later. This option should not be chosen. This option may be used during the actual SOL test, but should not be used for this practice tool. If you click this option, you will lose all of your work and it will not be saved. The third choice, I am finished with this test and I want to submit my final answers, allows you to submit your answers. Since we have finished with the practice items, please click on the third option, I am finished with this test and I want to submit my final answers. This completes a review of the end of course Algebra 2 practice test.